we've got our official partners, Mintlayer, today. We've recently announced a big partnership between Mintlayer and Kyrix Finance, and we're very happy, very excited about it. So we thought we'll have them over. Let's talk about it. Let's see. Let's educate the community a little bit what the partnership means. We'll go into the details in a minute, but let's do some introductions. We have Enrico, founder of Mintlayer. Enrico, we would before you introduce the project, I'd like to know who Enrico is and what's your background. How did you come into blockchain and Web3, and how did you ended up founding the project?
Sure. I'm a software engineer as a background, and I always worked I was working before crypto. I was working in the science field. Switched to crypto in 2016 when I joined the Bitfinex team. And then it was 2019, 2020 when we actually started working on Mintlayer, and here we are. We did a lot of engineering work so far, and now it's time to grow the ecosystem.
Interested. And what about Momo Karam? What's your background and how did you end up here? I believe you recently joined the company as well. So what were you doing before?
So before, thank you so much. So I joined Mintlayer recently. I hold over 17 years of experience in marketing and in business development. Specifically for blockchain, it will be over 12 years. I've worked with a lot of CeFi and DeFi projects, exchanges, NFT marketplaces, and I'm thrilled to be a part of Mintlayer now.
Nice, interesting. And let's go with Gianluigi then. Gianluigi, let's see who the man behind Kyrix Finance.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Gianluigi, and I'm I'm the co-founder of Kyrix Finance. My background mostly I come also like many in the DeFi space from traditional finance. I used to work in banking, more in the technical part of the banking, mostly products related to payment, core banking system, and lending products. So retail lending, corporate lending, non-performing loans. This boring stuff of the financial side. But after a while, so years spent in this field, I moved then in DeFi because my interest was anyway strongly connected with crypto and DeFi products. And after the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, I decided to build the first, let's say, the MVP of the project that then became Kyrix Finance. So cross-chain liquidity markets on the basis of substrate. And and that's how everything started then, my presentation.
Nice, interesting. So I believe you graduated from Polkadot Blockchain Academy. How was that experience for you?
Pretty intense. It was pretty good. It gave a lot of insight about how substrate works and a lot of knowledge about general blockchain, how a blockchain works. It was pretty interesting because there were 4 weeks, pretty intense. It was in Hong Kong actually, and it was also good from a networking point of view because there I met all the components of the team that are forming Kyrix Finance. We started with this team, and then other people came, especially you, Pacman.
Yeah, just a brief introduction. I'm also the co-founder of Kyrix Finance. My background is, marketing, BT, community growth and stuff. I've done this for a number of years, since 2018. I used to just be a community moderator, and then I started my own marketing agency, and then I've worked in marketing for a long time. Then I met Gianluigi, and I ended up becoming the co-founder, which is great. Let's do the introduction of Mintlayer. Enrico, we would like to hear from you what the project is, what does Mintlayer does, and for example, especially for Kyrix community, they don't know Mintlayer very well. How would you introduce Mintlayer to some new people?
So the main issue is that I think there was a missing way to issue assets that are closely interoperable with Bitcoin. So this was our main goal, right? To find a way to make Bitcoin sidechain where you can issue assets that are easily you can swap directly with Bitcoin on the main chain without the use of bridge or any centralized way, right? And the only way to do that is to use the concept of atomic swap. So basically, it's kind of an order book. It's kind of an OTC order book. You have to place an order. I want to buy something specific that is on the other side, and the counterparty needs to fill your order. And then so we spent the last couple of years working on the technology. Once you are on the sidechain, obviously things are are easier because of the Bitcoin is the Bitcoin network is specifically only for Bitcoin, while we had the opportunity to change a little the things around, so to make things more flexible in order to accommodate more than one asset. And there is the way to also swap any asset that is on mint layer for any other asset that is on mint layer. So that's the second part of the decentralized exchange. On top of that, we have the ZK rollup, which is upcoming, and this will allow the creation of EVM smart contract that are also that you can use with any asset that is on the mint layer network.
Okay, that's interesting. And Gianluigi, do you want to do an introduction for Kylix as well, please, for all the mint layer community watching?
Absolutely. So actually, Kylix itself is a layer 1 blockchain that aggregates liquidity from multiple chains and offers cross-chain lending markets. So we unify fragmented DeFi liquidity through what we call the hub and spoke architecture, where a central Kylix hub registers transactions, and we handle liquidity in a native way through liquidity vaults. We mirror essentially the same behavior of a centralized exchange, but on chain. We essentially offer lending, borrowing, liquidation operation across these connected chains, and instead of relying, on these traditional asset bridging mechanism, so wrapped tokens, bridges, we keep native liquidity on each chain while we record the transaction in our Kylix hub, so in a single authoritative ledger on the hub. So this approach not only eliminates risk, like bridge failures, blockchain finality, liquidity fragmentation, but we can provide to the user like a unified experience because they can manage from a single interface different blockchain at the same time. And due to the fact that we handle native assets, we offer lending, borrowing, and liquidation native assets. Our interest was, of course, to bring also Bitcoin, thanks to the help of Mint Layer. And we see that the collaboration between Kylix and Mint Layer can bring a unique selling proposition for all Bitcoin holders and maximalists.
Enrico, what do you think? How does Kylix Finance complement Mint Layer? Like, how do you think? Like, how does that benefit the project and the community?
So we have a vision, right? So we think that what we want to bring is essentially the opportunity for someone that owns Bitcoin to be able to diversify their portfolio, for example, right? So we are at the moment as a company trying to target the. I'm personally very interested in real world assets, and we're trying to target companies that wants to bring the real world assets on chain in a way that is connected to Bitcoin. So, and I think the explosion you have in terms of is when you connect what is the traditional finance with the new DeFi tools, right? So this is exactly where Kylix comes in, right? So, for example, you have Bitcoin, but you want to buy something, but you don't want to remove your exposure to Bitcoin. Then you can use Bitcoin as a collateral, borrow something that allows you to get a parallel exposure to something else, right? So this is essentially I think is a key tools for the future of Bitcoin and mint layer.
Yeah, Gianluigi, you've worked in the traditional finance before, so
Yes.
you know exactly how it works. So how does that sound to you when having a project like Kylix Finance where you can actually kind of contribute to the community, give them opportunities, and now having, thanks to Mintlayer, we can have Bitcoin as a collateral. How does that make you feel?
I mean, we are redefining lending somehow. Consider that the traditional finance is pretty, pretty suffocated by regulation. So we really haven't seen a real innovation in lending protocols since many years. I mean, I'm talking about traditional finance because there are regulation, there are license, you cannot offer certain type of interest rate or even type of products. So, I mean, often banks they really cannot put as much, fantasy on the offer that you can bring to the user. Especially, I mean, I talk is retail lending and the corporate lending. In a Web3 the situation is completely different. We can offer innovative lending protocols. We can offer lending markets with different assets. We can offer lending market on Bitcoin. Is there where I see the most of the value, because there is a lot of liquidity. There is a lot of capital that is locked into the Bitcoin blockchain. Actually, it's the first blockchain. I mean, the master of the blockchain. There are a lot of Bitcoin maximalists that are people that they have a lot of liquidity, but they strongly believe, just in Bitcoin and not in other chains like Ethereum and all the other ones that just exploded in the recent years. So the plan here is to give an opportunity. We want to give an opportunity to Bitcoin holders to enjoy the pleasure of DeFi. But more than a pleasure, actually, is the ability to increase the capital efficiency of their token. So Bitcoin user will be able to, as Enrico just mentioned, to take the Bitcoins, lend them and earn a yield, but also use them as a collateral and be able to borrow other tokens. They can even borrow more Bitcoins in order to do leverage, lending or leverage operation, compound operation. So I mean, we increase not only the capital efficiency, but the possibility that a Bitcoin user has to maximize the yield from their assets.
So just a quick thing.
Sure.
So are you saying that we guys are like, Kylix is basically democratizing the way the lending works in the DeFi protocol?
Cross-chain lending we democratize.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you are able to borrow from a chain and lend on another, like borrow
Absolutely.
Bitcoin and lend, Polkadot, or vice versa, But
Yeah.
it's with a native asset. Before, this operation was done through wrapped asset and through bridging. Here it said that we don't bridge any asset. Somehow, it's we handle liquidity in the same way a centralized exchange does. When you swap a cross-chain asset between, in a centralized exchange, like a Solana, Ethereum, the centralized exchange doesn't do any on-chain operation. It's just switching your balances in a internal database or internal ledger. Meanwhile, keeping the liquidity in its own liquidity vaults. And that's what we do, essentially, but in a decentralized way. This allows us to do democratization of cross-chain lending.
Yeah. Mo, I just want to ask you a quick question. So you're the chief
Sure.
growth officer at Mintlayer.
Yeah. Sure.
How does that make you feel, like a partnership like Kylix? How do you think it's going to be for the both communities overall? What kind of vibes do you get for the partnership?
Thanks, Pac-Man. I think it's a great question. Look, there's in a very subtle manner, I would say, requirements. The vision meets the requirement, right? So Mintlayer has the vision, and of course, Kylix. Apart from the vision, they have the requirement. So I think it's a marriage made in heaven, because from a tech stack standpoint, Mintlayer, stands out, and it has what it takes to be an emerging player in the market. And of course, with reference to the democratizing the lending saga, the lending segment, Kylix will play a very prominent role, and I think this will be a great collaboration. To be honest with you, I have not seen such a collaboration in quite some time now. And on top of that, as we all know, that the current ecosystem is all about talking about meme coins and Solanas and everything else. So this comes as a fresh breeze of air, and I think this will once this takes shape, I could feel the vibe of an exponential growth, and definitely it will all be up to the marketing and how we are going to be, retaining and engaging the customers, engaging the users on both the channels, and that's about it.
Interesting. And before I move on to the next question, I just want to tell the community. So we have over 280 live viewers. If anybody has a question, there is a chat on the right side. You can actually ask any questions, and as long as it's a valid question, we'll address it during the call as well. I just wanted to make sure people understand. The question for Enrico was, for example, you have wrapped Bitcoins as well. So how does that Mintlayer, so offer an alternative solution for a wrapped asset or a wrapped Bitcoin?
Yeah, so we think that, so first, there's nothing particularly wrong on wrapped Bitcoin, as long as the trade-off is clear. So you're going through a centralized entity that manage the wrapped version of Bitcoin, right? So it's not exactly as using Bitcoin on the main chain. So there is a trade-off in terms of security, decentralization, etc. So I think as a Bitcoiner, if I have the option and there is some solution that is good for me, I would prefer not to go with a wrapped version. I don't own any wrapped Bitcoin, for example. It's not good for holding in the long term. I suggest not to. I suggest you use Bitcoin on the main chain if you have some Bitcoin and you want to hold it. And the moment you want to swap your Bitcoin, then it's like the option that we give to people is to use atomic swap exchange. So atomic swap is essentially two smart contracts, one on the Bitcoin side and one on the Mintlayer side. Is the same? Is called HTLC, and is the same smart contract used for the Lightning Network, right? And with this smart contract, you can essentially swap the assets, Bitcoin for something else, a stable coin or whatever, and in a way that is atomic. So both sides of the transaction are working good, or both fail. So, and I think this is the as a Bitcoiner, I think this is the way to go when it comes to participate into other assets, other functions. When this is not good enough, or you want to use something different, then okay, maybe you can accept the trade-off of a wrapped Bitcoin, right? But it's important that this is explicit and you understand what you're doing.
Yeah. So in terms of, because for Gianluigi, in Kylix, so for example, if you're in Solana, and so you have liquidity vaults on each ecosystem, and then users can basically use in hub and spoke model, lend across different chains. But how would that work with Bitcoin? So how would the users can earn a yield through Bitcoin through different chains?
No, actually, this is a really good question because we are handling all the native liquidity through our liquidity vaults. So essentially, we are deploying a smart piece, made of smart contracts, a smart piece of software in all this chain that are handle our liquidity. Our liquidity is handled in a way that the user just deposit assets, in the form of a lender, or a withdrawal assets in the form of a borrowing operation. And all of these operations are notified to the Calyx hub through, of course, a messaging system that depends on the chain that we are operating. Sometimes it's Hyperbridge, sometimes it's iLayer, and so forth. This is no difference from Mint Layer. We will deploy on Mint Layer our own smart vault, that where the user will be able to, with a native Bitcoin address, to deposit their Bitcoin and withdraw other Bitcoins in the form of a borrowing operation. This eliminates, the risks related to the security risk related, because the bridges are frequent attack targets in DeFi. The funds are locked on different chain, but at the same time in our Calyx hub we are handle a mirror representation of this liquidity that is remote. So our operation are instant. And we don't really have any issue about synchronization between different chains, because different chains have also different finality time. So specifically in terms of Mint Layer, we will handle their liquidity in the same way we handle liquidity on Solana, for instance, and this will give a user a pretty unified experience in handle Bitcoins and Bitcoins for any lending operation.
Thanks. I've got a quick question for Gianluigi. Thanks. So, do you have any long-term goals of incentivizing users on your platform?
Yes. We have many ideas, because the point for us is not only to replicate a lending protocol. Even we have a unique selling proposition of being a cross-chain interoperability of native assets. We want really to make, let's say, a difference, to bring a unique selling proposition on the long term. For us, it's pretty important to target Bitcoins, because as everyone can see on the market, Bitcoin is still the king of the assets, and it's pretty important for us to be able to create lending pools and liquidity markets that where you can get a interesting yield on top of your Bitcoin asset. And so being a service that is actually can be competitive compared to what is existing now. Nowadays, the yield that you can get on Bitcoins are pretty low. Instead, we want to offer something that can be extremely attractive for the user. In the longer term, we have more and more a vision to integrate with traditional finance, and this will be, it's an ongoing process that we're building together, especially with Ocean coming from Clearpool. There is a Hong Kong company. They are essentially offering lending products, Web3 lending products for corporates. So not for retails, but for corporate. This involves a different level of service, because a corporate needs to execute a KYC and go through a different level of processes. And on the very long-term vision, we want also to offer uncollateralized loans. So bring the credit scoring that exists in traditional finance inside Web3. It's a long-term vision, but it's something no one is doing, and it's our plan to do it, especially with Bitcoin.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mo, do you have any experience previously using a DeFi protocol or bridging assets, and how has that experience been? Or have you not used? Because
Yeah,
personally, like,
absolutely.
I've always hated using bridges. For example, on Ethereum, the transaction fees is quite high, and it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And so, do you have previous experience of that? Or do you think this
Yeah,
not bridging,
absolutely.
using the bridges?
It's Thanks. I think the bridging has its own persona. Why the bridging is required is for two, market players to start working together. And if there are no common grounds, and that's then when the bridging will come into actually came into existence. Um, Based on my experience, I've seen a lot. I've worked with a lot of DeFi projects in my past experiences, and what I've seen is there's a lot of uncertainty, the FUD that creeps into the mind of the user the moment they're trying to do some kind of exchange, some kind of swap. But then this is all about giving them the helping hand. The technologies are becoming very user friendly. The technologies, like for example, you've got artificial intelligence. I think now AI is more of advanced intelligence, which means that artificial intelligence was brought into picture to amplify the human capability by 10x. But advanced intelligence is amplifying the capability of artificial intelligence, the bots by 100x. So we are still in the process of a very smooth transition when it comes to DeFi. Most of the people, they don't believe in DeFi, but right now, like for the past 2 or 3 quarters, um, the myth is slowly getting over and things are becoming more realistic. There's a lot of middleware software, which are coming into existence. Middleware technologies are coming into existence. That's really, creating the level of transparency. It's infusing credibility, and that's what's really is, hugging the visibility of not only the platforms but also in the minds and the hearts of the users. And it's making things easier for a user to swap or to engage with a non-Bitcoin assets.
Yeah, that's true. And now the future of Bitcoin DeFi, and what do you guys think? In 2025, like how the markets are evolving so quickly, and how do you see the next year and the next couple of years for DeFi and Bitcoin?
Enrico?
Yeah. So I think we are finally in a moment where we had a lot of opposition from government and jurisdiction around the world. Now things are changing. They're changing pretty fast. So and also from the banking system, right? There was a pretty strong opposition. Now again, even here things are moving. So I think it's clear now to everyone that the industry is here to stay. There are benefits. It's not only pump and dumps and and scams. Obviously, when you have a chaotic regime, there's a lot of things that are. But even the internet at the beginning was complicated, right? So we still have to see what is the future of the industry, right? It's still not clear, but and everyone has his own vision. I think what will happen is we will see more and more ties between the transitional finance and our industry, as long as it's the legislation are more friendly. And yeah, and I think this is where we are playing now. This is
Yeah,
where we want to. This is what we want to do. Connecting what was working before and what has concrete real value in the real world with new tools. Because if you
absolutely.
think about it, since yesterday, right, all the DeFi space was just trading what? At the end of the day, right, it was trading essentially meme coins, right? Everything was. Today we can bring something that has a value, and And with the new tools, you will have a combination that is really
Absolutely.
is a game changer. So
Yeah, just to
this is
thanks.
the direction to go.
Just to, sorry, yeah.
I don't
So
know
just to
if
continue.
2025 is a year, but probably is the beginning of that transition.
Absolutely, and just to continue, just to complement the statement of Enrico, one of the segments that I'm focused on in order to grow is basically the RWA, the real world assets. And most of the people, they just thought, they just think that RWA is only restricted to real estate and the realtors and the real estate market. But we have tapped into the renewable energy resources market as well. So let's say we've got lithium mines, we've got coal mines, we've got solar plants. They all are currently heavily on Web 2. They want to move into Web 3. However, they need someone to kind of hold their hands and transition them into Web 3, because right now most of these um, initially they were not. I mean, these segments never saw value in Web 3, in crypto and NFT marketplace. But now, slowly and steadily, the entire the intellect is moving towards Web 3. Lithium mines, for example, you've got over, let's say, a lithium mine is generating or yielding over $100 million worth of lithium. And what's next for them? There's nothing. There's no variety, right? So I know it's a part of securities, but they are willing to get their own token in place. They want to, generate revenue so that they can be more strong towards their monetary aspects. And this is where we're going to be helping them. Mint Layer will be a haven for all the commodities to come in and enjoy and experience a foolproof environment of Web 3 ecosystem through the eyes of Mint Layer. This is basically the idea.
And more, you are the chief growth officer, so you're basically the man responsible for the growth of the project. What do you see your short-term and long-term milestones? Like, what are you trying to achieve in like any targets for like short-term, and then what should we expect to see from Intlayer in the long term?
Sure. Thank you. That's a great question. Look, so what we'll be looking at is mostly a data-driven approach towards resolving all the queries. We want to grow the brand. Mint Layer is a flagship, and we've got so many byproducts underneath it. So as a chief growth officer, my vision is to accelerate all the byproducts that will inadvertently appreciate and complement the growth of the brand itself. So we have, in the coming days, the viewers, the users will get to know the other, all the other byproducts that we will be starting up with, and the acceleration will definitely come via the capable blessing of Enrico and the team. So look, Enrico is a visionary, and he knows what is required to grow the company, and also at the same time to grow the products. So having a data-driven approach is the need of the hour. Right now, we are focusing on creating. I can just tell you that we are focusing on creating our own data warehouse, wherein we will be handling a lot of on-chain data that will then help us in retaining the customers, engaging with the users, and then simultaneously making sure that the trading goes up. At the same time, we will be onboarding a lot of new projects on board, specifically Pilex. You guys are so very welcome on Mint Layer. I'm super thrilled to be working with you guys. So the word is data driven, and you all the listeners and all the viewers will be able to see more in the coming days.
Interesting. I'm very excited to see how it all pans out. Gianluigi, do you want to just quickly go through the short-term and long-term milestones for Kylix as well, please?
Absolutely, happy to share. So far we are in a deep development phase of our platform. And I mean, we're moving in parallel with the development of the platform and with everything related to the brand awareness of our services and our and a bit also of education, to the user on our social channels. Moreover, I mean, we will release a testnet project in. I mean, our project on testnet in probably April this year, and we foresee to go live in June. So far, I mean, we are working now, especially we've put a lot of attention on our security part of our project, and we are actually working on the integration of Mint layer as well. So it will point also we will invite some users to try our platform with a limited number of lucky guys. And that's it. We look forward to release our project live in mid of this year.
Okay,
Great.
if anybody wants to, sorry.
I have just final note from my side. I want to thank all our KOLs who's been working day and night in order to make this collaboration a huge success. The Kylix, our marketing team as well, Marie Angel and Chris, who are an integral part of our team, and definitely the KOLs, not to mention, have really made things happen. They are really making the noise in the market in the current ecosystem about the collaboration. So thank you, the KOLs.
Gianluigi, there's a question for you. Can we get involved in the Kylix testnets?
Yeah, absolutely. You just need to register on our website. There is kylix.finance, and just put your email, and when the testnet will be ready, will be open for a tester, you will be invited.
And if anybody wants to follow Kylix, again, just website is kylix.finance. You'll be able to see the link for Telegram and Twitter accounts and everything. Well, X account now, it's not Twitter anymore. And Mo, do you want to just quickly tell the community as well how they can follow the journey, and where should they get any updates from you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got our channels rolled out on Telegram, on X. So please do follow us to know more about all the different byproducts, and following us will definitely keep you guys well informed, well briefed, and then let's do it. Kudos to the collaboration between Kylix and Mint Layer. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Enrico, I'd like a closing statement from you, and also what are you most excited about this 2025?
So let's deliver the Kylix product on Mint layer, and I will be the first user for that, and I want to be the first user. I think it's going to be a great year, 2025. Things are moving, and we need to. There's a lot of work to do, so.
I think especially with Trump in power, and he's been very crypto friendly. I think there will be a lot of kind of ease in regulations, and people will have more potential to build projects there in America, even where before they didn't think crypto could be very big in America. So I think it will be interesting to see how the regulations and everything change, especially compared to SEC was very anti-crypto last time. And now,
we are monitoring the situation very closely, and as soon as possible, we will make sure that we will reopen to the US.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we are thinking that as well. Actually,
just waiting for the visa. Okay.
Well, it has been very interesting. We have about almost 450 live viewers, which is great. Just anybody watching, this is also going to be recorded. If somebody's joined us, halfway through or missed most of it, it's fine. It will be live on the Mint Layer Twitter accounts and also YouTube, and also on Kylix Finance Twitter accounts as well. So you can always catch up. If there's any questions, you can join our Kylix chat or Mint Layer chat, and ask the relevant teams whatever you want to know. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And that's it from every side. I think thanks everybody for joining, and I'm sure we'll do loads of Twitter spaces together. We'll invite our other official partners as well. and we'll explore more possibilities of like extending our partners to Mintlayer as well and bring more partnerships to Mintlayer.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Guys, it was really a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much, guys.
Thank you very much.